welcome to the first episode of the Happy Habits podcast with me, your host, Ciara Barnett. I'm joined today with Christina Irwin from Donegal Dips. Hello, Christina.
Hi, Ciara. I am so happy to be here.
Hello, I'm delighted to have you on my podcast.
Thank you so much.
The first episode as well.
It's so awesome.
I'm excited to get stuck into talking about all things cold water therapy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about your experience with cold water therapy and what's so special?
Okay, so basically, as you can tell, I am not from about here, and I come from a tropical country. I am used to tropical waters. It never occurred to me that people swam here, and I have been here for 24 years, and it was only maybe four years ago that I was driving my son around. He's big into the water sports. He does kayaking, he does surfing, he's in a dragon boat team, he was in a rowing team, and I was driving him around everywhere. And one of the days I thought, you know what, instead of sitting here, I think I might go for a swim. I had seen a group of ladies going into the water. It was around March time. It was really cold, and I thought, what are they doing? And they were shrieking, and I just thought, these people are mad. But you know what? They came out, and there was so much joy. And I thought, next week, I'm going to go in the water. And so the next week, I put my wetsuit on. My son had gone to a surfing lesson. I was sitting in my car going, what am I going to do? Am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? And I saw a lady walk past me, and I knew her. And I says, where are you going? And she says, I'm going into the water. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my sign. Can I come with you? And she's like, absolutely. So I went in with her with the same group of ladies I had seen the week before. And I thought, okay. And it was just so exhilarating. Like, it was mad. Like, I was one of those people that thought, look at those weirdos. And then I thought, I'm one of those weirdos. And it was awesome. It was just, yeah, life-changing.
I just think it's that feeling, that mental challenge to
Absolutely.
get in. So before, because I'm lucky to live beside the sea. So
Okay.
I'm at home and I'm like lying there, I think I need to go into the water. But then I'm like, can be bothered. It's cold outside. But the minute that you actually take that first step, you get out of the house and you're down there and you're like, it's that
Absolutely.
challenge, I think, mentally though, once you get in and you're just, you have yourself immersed in the water. It's like a blanket, in my opinion. And then you just come out and you're like rejuvenated and you're ready to go.
I think like one of the first things someone had said to me was that you never regret a dip, and you don't. And like we go in all weather, obviously as long as it's safe, but it's a little bit addicting. People have like chase that dopamine high, and it's the most natural thing. And there's so much science backing up why cold water is good for you. And there's so many people who like advocate cold water. And I think once you take that step, it's just the positivity as well in the communities that do cold water swimming. And there's so many of them around the country. It's amazing. So, yeah.
And in terms of Donegal Dips, then how was Donegal Dips set up, or how did it come around?
So I was separately going swimming or dipping with like sort of different groups, and someone else I knew was sort of dipping on her own, and just on Instagram, like social media is such an odd thing, and and people kind of posting themselves, and you kind of get a little bit like, oh, I cold water dip, and one day Tara, who is now a very good friend of mine, messaged me to say, do you want to go together some morning? And I says, yeah, that sounds cool. And we went, and from there, it kind of snowballed, and somebody else saw it and says, can we come? And somebody else saw it and said, can we come? And prior to that, I had been to an event run by two ladies from the north called Salty Sea Sisters. I don't know if you've heard of them. They have created a swim map of Ireland.
Wow.
It's amazing. I highly recommend it. But basically, it's a wild swimming map of the whole country. And it was their first anniversary, and they had this party in the North Coast. And I just thought, you know what? I think I'm going to go to this. And I went on my own. I met somebody else online who was going, and we went together. And it was like totally out of my comfort zone. And I think that's what cold water does. Is like it takes you out of your comfort zone. And I just thought, if I can do this, I can do this other hard thing. And I did. I went with a stranger who is also now a friend. And then all of a sudden, this community just kind of exploded. So, so that's what happened.
It's this community element for me as well, because I find now, in my opinion, I'm going down and doing cold water therapy on my own, but I am constantly, I can see the community element and why people would do it with other people. You know, it's that shared experience,
Absolutely.
that shared thrill, you know, that dance around the beach that you do afterwards, and that maybe the scream going in.
Sometimes the screaming helps.
It definitely helps, I find. But it's really important, I think, as well for people to try new things and like push their boundaries.
Absolutely.
Just to say, you know, as you said, you never regret a dip.
Yeah.
And I know I never regret one. So all that it does is it benefits me. In terms of like the mental health benefits, can you tell me a little bit about, you know, some of the techniques, or like do you use some breathing techniques, or have you done any?
We've been to a few different, like there's so many things surrounding cold water therapy now, and so I suppose mindfulness and meditation. There are sort of several practitioners who do maybe sort of breathing workshops and yoga workshops, and the Wim Hof method is very kind of popular. In terms of our own group, we've done a few things. We've done a lot of fundraising events as well based on cold water dipping, and I think the fundraising element, people find, oh, there's a good excuse for me to go. So where maybe they didn't want to go before, they thought, well, if I do this, I'll be doing something good. And all of a sudden they realize that they're doing something good for themselves as well. So there is a lot of sort of small techniques that we all read up on. We've not done anything formally. Some of us have gone to sort of, as I said, breathing workshops or meditation workshops, and we all bring that mindfulness into our everyday, because most of us dip every day. The breathing is definitely a massive part of the cold water dipping, because when you immerse yourself, it's just you and the water and your breath, and like, you know, and like the shrieking and the laughs and everything else, but really it's about controlling your own reaction to sort of prepare your body. And it's a massive thing, and it's actually something that has changed the quality of my life in all different aspects. You know, like if you can do this hard thing and do it, you know, all the time, there's other hard things you can do, and it's amazing. So yeah,
it's really interesting as well, because a lot of people find cold water therapy is best doing it in the morning, the first thing when you get up, and I find that's really interesting, because some people look at it as, and in my opinion, I would look at it like you're doing that hard thing first thing in the morning, that mental challenge.
Absolutely.
Everything after
and
that,
your whole day is just absolutely
falls into place. Then, you know.
Yeah. So our own group, we tend to dip before work. A lot of us dip before work, so we dip between 6 and 7 in the morning, depending on who's doing what. Some people go to the gym, some people go for walks, but we normally get done early in the morning. And I find personally, if I don't do it, it's like my whole day goes to pot, and all I can think of is, I need to get for a dip, I need to get for a dip. And sometimes the noise is just so consuming, and you just think, all I need is 2 minutes in the water, and it totally helps.
It's so interesting you said it is. It's just 2 minutes. It
Absolutely.
really is. It's so quick, and like the benefits they reap all day.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just a 2 minute challenge for yourself to ground yourself, to be present, because it forces you to be present.
Absolutely.
But then after that, the ripple effects are endless.
There is also a group called The Ripple Effect. I think they're based in Dublin. Again, a cold water dipping group. There's loads all over the country, and I found, you know, especially on the internet, you find something that will back up anything you say, whether it's good or bad. There's always something that will agree with you. But the cold water community across the country is just so welcoming. Like there's a group called Solamates in Buncrana. There's the Viking Dippers in Downings, Portmarnock, the Dublin Dippers. There's just everywhere, and everywhere you need to go, or anywhere in the country, you can think, I'd love to go for a dip. Who can I ask for help, or who can I ask for advice, or who can I go with? And everyone will welcome you with open arms. It's amazing. That's
what I was going to say, it doesn't matter who you are, what age you are, everybody can do it.
Absolutely.
Because it's really interesting, the area that I go and swim in Buncrana, down by Ned's Point.
Yes.
There's the point swimmers down there. Like this group of like elderly people in my community.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's like, they're there all day. There's different groups of them there all day, and then like they're having teas and coffees, and you just hear them laughing.
So sociable.
And there's music in the summer and stuff like that, and they're out in all weather types, you know, obviously whenever it's safe, but the rain doesn't shy anybody away from it. In fact, I love going when it's raining.
Absolutely.
It's like warmer or something. It's amazing.
The weather doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like any day I can get for a swim is a good day. It doesn't matter if it's lashing rain or there's hail. We've gone swimming in the hail, in the snow, in the rain. As long as we can get to the water and it's safe, we'll get in the water. So that's totally changed my perspective as well.
That's amazing. In terms of like learning things about yourself, going back to the well-being and mental health. Did you discover anything about yourself since starting cold water therapy? Like any new techniques?
I think there's a lot of self-reflection when you're doing something hard like that or outside of your comfort zone, where it's like, okay, you know, you're putting yourself out there, and it's like, what's the worst that could happen? I could fail. Do you know what I mean? Or I'd be embarrassed, or I won't be able to do it, or I won't be able to stay in as long. And all these things, you know, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And I think that has like spilled out to all aspects of my life, that I can basically, like, for example, last year we did the Camino, a portion of the Camino. My husband and I did 125 kilometers of a walk, which was never, ever on my bucket list. Like, loads of people like, you know, the hike life and all, and the hike life is so not for me. I'm afraid of heights. But the Camino was like something I did for my husband, because he enjoys walking, to do something together. And it was never something I thought I could achieve. When we were there in Spain, it rained for a full solid week. And my motto was, if I can swim in the snow, I can walk in the rain. And we walked 125K, which, hand in my heart, I never thought I could do. And so it just goes to show that the habits that we've sort of built, and the resilience you gain from being in the water, it's life-changing. And someone said that to me, and I thought, what a dose. And it's so true. So yeah, there you go. Hands up. I totally agree.
It's so funny. Like, it just becomes part of your daily routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then, as you said, it's like an addiction. You know, you keep coming back for more. You want more. And like, I just know myself, in the past, I would have only went to the beach in the summer because it was hot. But the weather shouldn't be an excuse, really, because you'll always find an excuse.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
if you really look hard enough. But no, that's really interesting. So the Camino, that must have been such an achievement.
Absolutely. Well, for me especially, like, my husband loves to walk, and for him it was just it was literally a walk in the park. And he was you could spot the Donegal man in Spain in his wet gear, and he was bouncing around happy as, and the rest of us were just like trudging through this weather. But the achievement afterwards, and I thought, I would never have done that. I would never have had the guts to do something so outside my comfort zone. But because of the cold water that we've been doing for these last couple of years, it's just, I can do anything. So there you go.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I would just say to anybody, like, it's not for everybody. Do you know what I mean? As nothing is for everybody, but give it a go. Like, you just, you don't know what you'll come out of it.
It costs nothing as well.
Absolutely.
You know,
except when you start buying swimsuits.
Well, that's true. Or those, my favorite, the jackets.
Yeah,
the
dry
ones,
robe.
the dry robes. They're lifesaving.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But in terms of, you know, you were saying there about like swimming, like the community element with Donegal Dips, and Donegal in general, we're known, like, tourism-wise, we're known for our beaches. And I feel like we, the people that live here, should be out there appreciating, making full use out of the facilities that we have on our doorstep. Yeah. So that reminded me that in this summer, I'm going to challenge myself to try and get around as much of the Donegal beaches as possible and do cold water therapy in all of those. Because there's so many that I actually haven't. There's so many hidden gems in Donegal. Like, we are known.
Absolutely. and it's around every corner. And now every time I pass a body of water, it's like, oh, can I swim in that? Can I swim in that? Will I fit in there? But there is and we really are blessed. I'm very lucky where I live in Donegal town. The closest water to me is like a 7-minute drive. Rosnella is around the corner, Bundoran's around the corner, Fintra's not too far away. So there's so many options. And I think, especially for people that live here, we kind of forget how lucky we are, and so lucky to be so close. And like you said, it's, nothing beats Donegal on a good day. And I think it's reminding people that even on the wettest days, there's still plenty to enjoy. So totally agree.
That's so true. Well, unless there's anything else you want to add to the interview, I think that's all we have time for this episode.
No, I've really enjoyed it. I would totally recommend for people who if you've ever thought of doing it, give it a go. If you're afraid to do it by yourself, get in touch with a group. Like I said earlier, someone said to me it was life-changing, and I just thought, not a hope, but definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
as you said, you will
never regret it. Absolutely.
Never regret a dip.
Yeah.
Amazing. So thanks for joining me today. If
Not
there's
at all.
anybody looking for your social media,
we're just
where
on
will they find
Instagram called Donegal Dips, simply Donegal Dips. You can contact us. As I said earlier, we do a lot of fundraising. We've raised money for domestic violence, for local charities in Donegal town, like the Blue Stack Foundation. Liquid Therapy is it's an all-inclusive surf school in Rosnala. Just loads, and there's always national fundraisers as well that you could do challenges, and it's a great way to put yourself out there. So absolutely, highly recommend.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So that's all we have time for today in this episode. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new about cold water therapy. And as we were saying, you'll never regret a dip, so give it a go. Thank you for listening.